Hello everyone, it's Fury here. This is video tutorial for Runtime Variable System Lite, which is a plugin that I released on Unreal Engine Marketplace not too long ago. And so, generally speaking, the plugin might be quite complicated for some of you to understand what it is about and what it is for. So that's why I'm making this video to show you how to enable it, how to use it, what you could potentially use it for, what's it useful for, and generally everything about the plugin. So let's get started. I have an empty first-person shooter project here. Nothing has been modified here. So yeah, let's start. I'm gonna enable the plugin first, of course, as always, and restart the project. There you go. So once you enable the plugin, you should be able to see under Window there should be a Runtime Variables Manager, which is basically a window that where you can add, manage, remove variables and stuff like that. We'll talk about it in a minute. If you are familiar with the gameplay tags in Unreal, it has very similar separate window to manage them, so it's kind of similar. So yeah, it's gonna be hard to explain the runtime variables by just talking. So I'm gonna just do some example use case, so you can imagine what you could potentially use it for in the future. So first of all, I'm gonna add a new variable. What this does, it doesn't add this variable to any particular object, actor, or blueprint, or not anything. It just registers the variable, and then you can use it later in blueprints to add it to any object, remove it from any object, modify and stuff. So for the tutorial purposes, I'm just gonna call it health, maybe, and make it integer. And as you can see, it has some category here at the top. It generates this category by default when you add a new variable. But you can add your own categories here. You can rename them. So let's maybe create a category called attributes. And you click on it, you can unfold it and fold it. By dragging this hand, you can change the location of the variables, move it to different categories and stuff. So let's put this health variable inside of the attributes. The categories don't matter for the gameplay, it's just for organization purposes, so it will be easier to find it and sort it. Now I'm gonna delete the default category. I don't need it, and remember you can only delete the one that is empty. So as you can see, you can't delete this one. You can only also change their location, the order, but it also doesn't matter. It's just organization. So I'm gonna delete this one, and there you go. We have attributes, and there is an attribute health. Now, again, for tutorial purposes, I'm just gonna use the first-person character that I have in the game from the regular template to show you some things. So, in the begin play, let's say, when I type health now, as you can see, there is runtime variables and then attributes, which is the category that we created over here. And so when I type health, as you can see, then the plugin generated a couple of nodes, and we will talk about all of them in this tutorial, so don't worry. But let's start from the simplest one, which is the health, the set health or set variable node. It's very simple to use, basically. Let's connect it here. So in this scenario, at the begin play, it will set the health variable to some object. Now, the object that you target with it, you have to pass in here, right? So it could be your character, it could be somebody else's character, you know, it could be any object. And since this accepts objects, not only actors, you could literally just go around and set a health variable or some other variable into this box, even if it's not a blueprint. So this is very powerful system. But for the tutorial, let's say that I want to set health on the player pawn, and I'm gonna set it on 100 by default, and that's it. This, when begin play hits, the variable is being added and set to 100. Now the The thing is that we obviously don't have a way to read it and check if it works. So let's create some delay here, just to show you the general idea. I'm gonna copy this and let's type health again, and let's use this time get health node. Get works similar to set, but basically it will return the value of this variable for a given object. So if the object doesn't have the variable, you never call the set, it will say that the variable was not found. So you can also use it as a tagging system. So let's say that you have a door in a game that is destructible, maybe, but before you finish certain quest, it's indestructible. So you can basically remove the health variable from the doors, finish some quest, and when the quest finishes, you set the health variable on the door, and it becomes destructible again. So this sort of runtime functionality is very nice because you can, as I said, there's a lot of events, but we'll talk about it later too. So let's see if it works. Let's print our player player health. Connect it like this. So this, what this should do is basically at the begin play it will set health variable to 100. After 5 seconds it will try to read it and print it in the corner. So let's jump into the game, and here in the corner you should see player health 100 in a second. There you go. So we see that it works, but you could ask, why don't you just add a health variable over here traditionally? Well, you could, but there is a couple of benefits of using runtime variables. First of which is obviously the variable, it doesn't clutter the memory of your computer when it's not added. The actor or the object doesn't have the variable until it's set for the first time. Secondly, as I said, you can use it as a tag. So if I type health again, you can remove health, which is the same, works the same as any other node here. You can basically say, hey, remove the health variable from that player pawn, and that's it, and it will remove it. But there is more to it than that. The system is very event based and focused on events a lot. So for the testing purposes, let's say that we want to have this health updated in the UI. So we at the beginning play we set the health to 100, and then we will have some UI to read it. So let's quickly create some HUD, BP HUD, and then let's create some widget, just simply WP main screen. Right, so we'll have a UI element and a HUD. So in the HUD, let's create widget quickly. WP main screen. Add to viewports. Cool. This is again very simple, just to check if what we can do with the plugin. Let's assign the HUD here, and there you go. So let's just test if it works, if we have the UI on the screen, just so we don't start looking for some. Yeah, there you go, there is some UI on the screen. Cool. So let's say that you want to track this player health. You get damaged, and then you want the progress bar to reflect that, or have some effects on the UI screen or whatever. So let's add some progress bar here somewhere, maybe in the corner here. That will be our player's health. Since it's a health, let's make it red. Doesn't really matter, but the progress bar accepts inputs from 0 to 1, which is percentage, so we will have to calculate the percentage too. But I found over the years that a lot of projects have this problem where people try to, because the health, you never know when the health changes. People tend to do stuff like constantly reading it in the tick in the UI, which is very inefficient and after a while it snowballs into a lot of variables and a lot of things that the UI constantly tries to find out about, and it ends up being quite bad idea because of the performance reasons. And generally, that's how I see people doing these things a lot. So let's say that the player has traditional variable health here, like you normally do. And now, how do you update the progress bar to the health? Well, you have a pawn, so you would probably have to cast it to first person character, right? And then only then you can access the health, the traditional health variable. Well, the cast itself is a problem because it creates a hard reference, and then the UI will have to load the blueprint from the disk. There's a lot of reasons why this is bad. Also, when you have a different, maybe you are not always controlling character, but maybe you are controlling cars or some other pawn that doesn't derive from it, and it won't have the variable health on it, and it would have to cast here for every single type or create some interfaces to manage that, which is very limiting. Not you can obviously do it, but it's kind of it's just a slower process and less abstract. So instead of this, what this system allows you to do, you set health on this character, and instead of having it in the tick, we just remove the tick completely, and we create event-based approach. And the way it works is, I type health in the UI here, and there is another node called on health changed, and this is an actual event. So the way it works is basically it will listen to whenever the variable is added, changed, modified, or removed from particular object. And yeah, later at some point you can just listen to this event and then change the progress bar only when the value changes, not all the time on every tick. So this is nice. The object is basically which object do you want to listen to in terms of the health changes. So let's say our player pawn, whatever it is. It could be a car, a character, doesn't matter. And then subscribe is basically it registers for the event. So from when this is triggered, from now on it will be listening. So remember that if you set the health before this node is subscribed, then obviously it will never, it will not trigger for the first time, but it will trigger for any other change later on. Unsubscribe is basically if you want to disable this node from getting events at some point. The object is obviously which object you want to listen to, having this variable added, removed, or changed. Now, unsubscribed is basically pass through. So this is called and it passes through further. When this is called, it passes through here. And these are actual asynchronous pins that get called sometime later in time. So basically, this is just when the health variable is added. This is when health variable is changed, and this is when it's removed, and this is the value of the variable. So, let's say that we have that the health here, and what we want to do is basically set percentage of this progress bar. Since our health is about 100, let's say that the 100 is maximum health. So we'll turn it into float and divide it by 100 so that we have percentage. It will be because you remember that the progress bar gets just from 0 to 1. Therefore, we need to provide a value from between 0 and 1. So whenever the health is changed or is added or changed, let's say, we just want to update this progress bar. And it doesn't tick. The performance of this node is very high because it never ticks anything, and this is very event based. It doesn't poll for the data. It's only when the set health is called, it will evaluate and call the event. So in this case, as you can see, we have a full health bar now for the character. And let's say that at some point, or maybe let's do something else. let's do a trigger box, maybe. Sorry, this is really annoying. BP damage trigger. So there will be some trigger box that whenever player enters the box, he gets you know, damaged somehow. Let's have some sort of box. We will unhide it so that we can see where the box actually is, and yeah, let's increase this a little bit. And now, whenever the player enters the box, let's see if it works. Just to see if, you know, if the collisions are all correct. Damage trigger box, and I'll try to enter the box now. There you go. BP first person character. Okay, so cool. This works. Now, so what we want to do, again, we don't need to know what kind of character or pawn it is. We don't need to know anything about the UI or cast or have a list of it. We don't have anything here. It's really nice. So we can, for example, do like, okay, so when somebody enters this box, maybe let's see, get health, just to see if the actor has health variable. If it doesn't have it, we do nothing. And if it has the health variable, let's say set health also to the actor that entered the box. If the variable is found, then get the health and decrease it by, I don't know, 20 or something, right? And that's it. Whenever the player enters the box, or anything that has health variable on it, so anything that is damageable in any way, it should receive the damage. So the health will be decreased by 20. Let's see if it works. It should be reflected in this progress bar. There you go. And you know, how many times I enter it, it will damage me. With just 2 nodes, I have everything updated in the UI very efficiently in one place without knowing anything, without casting or interfaces. This is really cool. I think I use it for my projects, and it turns out to be a game changer for me, especially for the UI communication. You know, amongst other things, one thing also to notice is the change notification. So maybe there are circumstances upon which you may not want to send this event on health change, this one particularly, and that is, I don't know, just some maybe there is a loop that you modify the health a lot in the loop, and you only want to send a notification once to trigger the animation or something, just once, which is nice to do. You can just uncheck this box, and it will not update any of these nodes. It will not trigger change on any of these nodes from this change. See, the health was changed, but it didn't trigger the event in the UI. So that's just for some particular use cases. You know, you could do, for example, very cool use case for this plugin, I think, is an event system. So imagine that you have a Lite. Let me just quickly move it here. So let's say that you have a Lite interactions. So you would have an actor that is a Lite source, right? And let's see if it's gonna be visible here. Yeah, it's somewhat visible. So let's say that we have a Lite actor here that we want to enable and disable at some point. And Uh, let me close those things. We can leave the health. And let's say that that there is a BP light switch. So there is some sort of a button that that you can click in order to do the light switching. So let's put this button in here. I'm just gonna make it a little bit smaller. Okay, that should do. So, for example, interaction systems are a very nice use case for this system, I think. So we have a light switch and we have a light. Let's disable the light by default. Let's make it invisible. And okay, good. Now let's say that the character has some sort of ticking logic that detects interactions. So maybe single line trace for objects. Let's do. Okay, this is dynamic. So let's do that. Get. Well, actually, we can get it from the cat location. Get forward vector. This is just basically a simple raycast so that I can detect interactions. Let's go to float for 2 meters ahead. Don't mind the spaghetti here. It's just a tutorial. So start and end, and the object types just world dynamic objects. And let's draw our raycast and let's test it. Oops, we probably have picked up this weapon. Okay, let's see where we are with this. Okay, camera or location, that should be fine. Trace color. Oops, yeah, that was my mistake, sorry. Let's do this. That's how it should be. Now we should have our array ready. There you go. There is a raycast coming from the camera. As you can see, it only targets dynamic objects, so it won't target the wall behind. So that's why it's not very visible, but it's okay. So the raycast works now. Now we can do something cool here. Let's go to the manager and let's say that we want to have a category called interactions, and that there will be a variable in the interactions that is called is interactable. So you basically mark an object to be interactable or not interactable. So our light switch is actually interactable variable, interactable object. So set interactable. This is coming from our variable system again. Self for because this switch, and we want it to be true. So this light switch is interactable. I can disable switch the notification for this. I don't need anything to know that this is interactable. You can use it if you want, but it doesn't matter. And then whenever the raycast hits something, we will try to do to check if this something actor is interactable. Does it have an interactable variable? Well, if it does, and the object is actually very interactable, so it's found and this is true, then yeah, let's just print hello for now to see if it works. Yeah, there is nothing. There is no variable there. There you go, hello. So this works. The variable is found through the line trace. This is very small. Let's make it bigger. Okay, and what we want to do now, for example, is maybe let's say that we want to track what is currently what player is currently looking at. So let's add another variable, current interactable object. Let's put in this category for the interactions, and let's say that this is just object. I don't know what it is. It could be anything. It could be light switch or any other, maybe door in the future and stuff like this. So let's say let's get our player pawn and then set current interactable. So our current interactable, what is player currently interacting with, will be this object that we just hit. So it's true. But also, if we are not interacting with anything, or something is not interactive, we just do nothing here. So this is not connected to anything. 0. So we clear when we look away from the object. And that's it. And let's say that in the UI system we want to, well, let's see. Yeah, let's say that in the UI system we want to somehow say on current interaction changed, interactable changed. Now we probably want to do a sequence here, just so the graph is more readable. So this will execute one by one. Yeah, so if the player pawn, its current interactable changes in some way, so it's assigned, unassigned, and stuff like this. Yeah, we want to basically maybe, let's say, let's see, maybe let's try to put this in the middle. Let's call it interaction message, and this one health bar. Okay, interaction message in the middle of the screen. Nice. Let's put it to nothing, so it's not visible. And now the what makes interaction message needs to be a variable. So interaction message now. If we have something valid, interactable, whatever, then we want to set text in this interaction, display name, maybe something like this. So I'm setting the name of the object to this thing, and whenever interaction is invalid, that we have nothing to interact with, we set empty text, right? So that's what we do for that. And let's see, if it works. Oh wait, yeah, I forgot to connect this. So yeah, so when the object is invalid that we are interacting with, so there's nothing we are interacting with, we basically set text to empty. And let's see, I should have a message when we look at this, and then it should disappear when we look away. So very simple. In a couple of nodes, we have a simple interaction system with the UI support. Amazing. Now you probably have noticed that a lot of red stuff, this is coming from the plugin, and it's because here we're trying to get is interactable when, for example, I'm looking into the sky, which means that I hit this actor doesn't exist, so it's null. I don't have anything. So let's do this instead. let's just make sure that we have some valid actor there, that we are actually hitting something, and if we are not hitting anything, we also clear the thing. So we should, yeah, the error is gone, and there you go. Now we probably could expand on it and like do stuff like, I don't know, F key debug. Sorry for not using the proper inputs, but this is just for testing purposes. So we have current interactable on local players. So let's do this, current interactable. So if our local player has, if our pawn has interactable, then do some work on it. So like when we press F, again, we could do something, another variable here, maybe for the interactions again, like so. We'll do like perform interaction. We can leave it as boolean or whatever. This is basically not a variable anymore. It's like an event kind of thing. So yeah, I would say the light switch would let me see. Oh yeah, maybe let's do something else. Let's do interaction that is object. So we would have what happened? We would have, this would be like who is trying to interact with us, right? So the light switch would be like, okay, at the beginning, let's listen to the perform interaction here. So yeah, sorry, let's listen to the perform interaction, and we will be like, okay, so self, so this light switch is listening to its own event. So when this is added, we are basically going, okay, let's say that we're trying to interact. So we probably want to have a light, the light itself. Let's do it with traditional, because traditional variable allows us to link it on the level. Let's call it target light actor light actor BP light. That's BP light. I think I called it light. Yeah, BP light. And we'll just expose it. And so we get the BP light, set visibility of the point light like so. So when something is interacting with us, we set light to visible, and when it's removed, we set it to invisible. And we should be quite good here. Let's go back to the character. So one thing that I wanted to also change is that we are basically using the value to set whether we are interacting with something or not. And I don't like that, so let's remove current interactable. Let's use the removal event instead. And the object is this player pawn is. So whenever we look at something interactive, we set the variable, and whenever we look away, we basically remove the variable. And here similarly, if we have the interactable variable and is found, we can basically go like set perform interaction on that interactable object. Wait, so this is who we are interacting on, and this will be who is the one who is interacting with it. And so we need to reflect this in the system as well. So instead of change, we'll do yeah, something like this. When it's added and now it's removed. There you go. Yeah, we can leave it here. Okay, let's see if it works. So looking works. Now the light switch need to know which light it is interacting with. So let's link this light to it. And that's plus F and F. Yeah, see? So I switched it on. Now we don't have a toggle logic. We can do that too. So when I, for example, if I have the variable current interactable set perform interaction. So what I could do, for example, is get perform interaction, and if it's found, if it's not found, remove perform interaction on this object like this. And now we should, I think, have toggle logic. There you go. So this was done through entirely using the runtime variable system, as you can see. So it basically says a lot about it. It's very flexible, as you can see. Like from the player's perspective, player blueprint, player doesn't know what it is interacting with, whether it's light, not light, doesn't matter for it, because now we could have maybe I don't know, maybe another like BP platform switch, right? There will be some platform switch, and then we would have it. Yeah, I don't know, like BP platform. So that is not a light at all, but it's like a platform of some sort that just for example goes up and down, let's say. So yeah. Yeah, we could have something like this. So the platform switch would be a little bit different at this point, because it would have like BP platform. Yeah. So yeah, we have this platform switch. So let's call it target platform. So it will be taking whatever the platform it's targeting, and maybe like our local offset, maybe to whatever is there, like by 200. And then you're just gonna go around and like do amazing moving of the platform or something like this, because it's just out of scope of this tutorial. I just wanted to show you that you can do what you can do with it. Yeah, so added and removed. So added and removed. So now we have interaction for the platform switch, the platform itself, light switch, and that's it. And if I have done everything correctly, then we should have two interactions now, light switch and the platform switch. If I do this with the light and can do, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to link the platform. Okay, now we should be good. Now light works, the platform also works. Now we could make it even better with the system, because we could have a BP common switch that is a switch for anything really, because we could have like target actor, like any actor to switch it on or off. And then using the system, we could expand on this feature and like go ahead and do interactions, and maybe like yeah, let's add it to the interactions as well, and like do a boolean that goes is switched on, and then this thing would be like, okay, so since we have a common switch that goes added and removed for this, we will go with this and do set is switched on or is switched off. So we will either switch it on or off. So it's true and false. When it's added, we switch it on. When it's removed, we switch it off. And now this switch will not care about whether it's a light or anything else. It will just do its work. Now let's say that the light has a variable or listens to a variable. Is switched on changed on itself, and if it's switched on, which is added, for example, actually we could basically remove is switched on. Yeah, maybe that will be cleaner than just a boolean. So let's do this instead. Common switch, and our light will be checking that. So if the light switches on, set visibility. When it's added, we set visibility to true. When it's removed, we set the visibility to false. And now we have a switching logic for the light through the common switch. Let's see if it works, because I might have screwed some things up. Common switch, and it needs to target the light, and we should be good here. There you go, it works. Now the cool thing about it is that the platform switch, for example, I can remove the platform switch and I can remove the light switch, because this thing should work for both. Now what light is doing here, we should do similar thing with our thing here with the platform, and the platform is able to now go and do stuff like so. So the platform says add local offset by 200 and minus 200. So when it's switched on, it goes up. When it's switched off, it goes down. Now we can have another switch here and a platform, and the switch would be like working for this platform now. Common switch 2. Yeah, and this is basically very simple interaction system that doesn't use casts or interfaces, that doesn't care about the type of object. All it cares about is that there is some sort of interaction happening and that the object should perform its interaction. Now you can even expand on that even more, because if you can see with where I'm doing the perform interaction, I'm passing just the object. So it's like the light could check if, or not the light, the common switch could check this is who is interacting with me. If it's a player that has health, maybe if the player who is trying to interact with the switch has less health than, let's say, it's not full in health, it's not strong enough, let's say, or any other criteria, it has health less than 100, then we will do nothing. And if it has health 100 or more, it will allow us to do the switch. Now if I try to use it now, I should be able to use it. But if I tell my character at start that it should have maybe 80 health, we probably shouldn't be able to use it. There you go, it doesn't work. Awesome. So you could even now put it all together into one logic and have a damage trigger somewhere here, and like if I switch it on right now, I get in, I got damaged as you can see here, and I can't switch it on or off. Oh, I could switch it off. So there is another case. I would have to do the same sort of check for removing the variable, something like this. Now I can switch it off and on. I get in, I'm damaged now, the health is not full, now I can't do anything. Also with this one. Yeah, so I know this video was quite long, but there is a lot more you can do with the system. It doesn't really limit you to what you can do with it, and it doesn't tell you what you should do with it. It's more of a general way of communication style that you can do in the game, and basically that's what it is. There will be another tutorial video for Runtime Variable System Pro, which is a more expensive, more feature-rich version that supports replication, multiplayer, and has additional node that is very cool. So stay tuned for that. I'll link that video in the description as well. And see you later.